background with you. Steve Tasker out sick for the day. Hope he's better soon. Hitting that chicken soup and back in studio before you know it. Here in hour number 2, though, making his weekly appearance, resident member of Bills Mafia and NFL Network's own Michael Robinson. What's up, Mike Rob? How we doing?
Doing great, doing great. I know we played a few days ago. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and a holiday weekend, but I'm pumped up. Bills got another W, and they didn't play their best, but they did get the W.
They did, and, pulling out a close game, always important because probably at least half of your games are going to be that, even if you're the Bills. Injury bug still biting, Mike. It victimized Von Miller, who's already been declared out for this week's game. It looks like it's a full wait-and-see mode on the knee injury. The defensive end position is the one that's getting bit hard right now. Rousseau's trying to make his way back. Epenesa's still out with the ankle injury. Now Von Miller. Von, we know, makes a difference, Mike. There's no question about it. With him not in the lineup, what does that allow the Patriots to do protection-wise that they might not be able to do if Miller's in the lineup?
Well, oftentimes when you have, a pass rusher like Von Miller, I call him an assassin because whenever the team seems to be in a need to get a big play, a big-time pressure on a quarterback, he's available to do it, and he seems to elevate his play depending on the gravity of the situation in the game. So whenever a team is playing a guy like Von Miller, you have to keep a running back to him. You have to keep a tight end there. You have to keep somebody there to help the tackle out because if not, Von Miller's going to win 10 out of 10 times. So what does that do, right? That takes somebody out of the passing tree. That takes somebody out of the passing concepts because when you have a guy helping your tackle, there's only but so many routes that guy can do. That tight end or that running back can either do a drag, a hook, or a flat. And so when you have a Von Miller there, you're taking a guy out of the route. You're taking a weapon, out of your passing tree to be able to attack the Buffalo Bills defense. When Von Miller's not there, you're not helping that right tackle. When Von Miller's not there, you're having your full complement of 5 eligible receivers, eligible guys going out to be able to attack the defense. That's what a Von Miller, that's what his presence does for you. But Boogie Basham, this is your time to step up. Shaq Lawson, you've been in this league for a while now. This is your time to step up. And when you have a guy like a Matt Milano, who, to me, you've heard me say this, he is the glue to this defense. He is the reason that makes Leslie Frazier. He is the reason that Leslie Frazier is able to call so many different unique styles of defense. I think they're going to start rushing him a little bit more. You saw that. You saw him on the edge of the defense a couple of times this past game. I think you get Matt Milano rushing the quarterback a little bit more. You'll get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback with the defensive end position being down a little bit.
What do you make of Ed Oliver the last couple of weeks? It looks like he looks like a bat out of Hades lately. I mean, he's just flying around, making plays. It might have been his best game last Thursday of his career. Sack, safety, 2 tackles for loss, forced fumble recovery. I mean, he was flat out dominant, Mike. What are we looking at going forward here?
So, I know Ed watches this show. I know Ed follows me on my social medias and things. I'm a big Ed Oliver fan. But my thing is, bro, you have that ability to do this every single time that you're out on the football field. What happens to the other snaps? I love Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver is one of the most explosive defensive tackles in the National Football League. When he's on, when he's healthy, when he's feeling good, you can put him in the likes of the Aaron Donalds. You can put him up there with the Fletcher Cox and some of the other big-time 3 techniques in the National Football League. You're absolutely right. I think he had one of his best games, if not his best game of the season. But again, that's that penetration. And I know Bill Belichick is looking at Ed Oliver and saying, in this run game, we're going to have to double team Ed Oliver, but that's what makes Ed Oliver so special. He possesses that unique ability to split the double team and make the tackle. A lot of defensive tackles in this National Football League, they're one or the other. They're either going to be a guy that holds up double teams so that the linebackers can run and hit, or they're a guy that they just split the double team and they're only worried about making the play. Ed Oliver can split the double team. He can make the play while allowing his linebackers the room to be able to roam and go and be able to run and hit. I love Ed Oliver. We just need to see him a little bit more being that dominant. He has all the ability to be able to do that.
We saw Tre'Davious White get 16 snaps last week. Great
Yeah.
to see him back. He was not targeted by Jared Goff in the game, due in part to his coverage being pretty solid. What do you think is realistic going forward? Are you kind of? I mean, we've all been kind of kept in the dark at this, so I know you're guessing on this for us, but we're looking for some expert opinion here. What do you think is are you anticipating a gradual progression, or would you anticipate that it's going to come a point in time where he says, let's just take the training wheels off. We're going, a full 65 snaps on D this week.
I know for me, it would have to be a gradual thing with Tre'Davious White, right? First of all, he is one of those lockdown guys. When he's healthy, when his body feels good, he has the ability to erase the other team's number one, number two, or number three receiver, whatever Leslie Frazier and the defensive staff deems he should be on. He has that ability. So when you have a guy that's that big of a chess piece, you want to make sure he's 100%. If he had 16 snaps this week, I'd see what 20 to 25 snaps look like this week, right? Not pushing them too much, not trying to do too much, but making sure later on in the season, as we get into January, and yeah, I'm talking about February as well, because it's the championship roster, you want to make sure he's peaking during that time. You don't want him playing his best football now. So again, I would take a gradual approach because again, he's a kid that, he's a bigger he's a bigger cornerback. So again, being able to move in and out of breaks, being able to bend his knees and being able to bend down and being able to create leverage when he's getting in and out of breaks, that's what you want to make sure he's sure at before you give him the entire load.
All right, now I'm going to give you a different case. So John Brown signs, on Sunday. They add him to the practice squad. This is a team that needs some depth at receiver now with some of the injuries they've had. Kumerow's got a high ankle sprain for the second time this season. He's missed a couple of games. Crowder's still out with the ankle. They're looking for a veteran that Josh trusts. This is one of those guys. Yeah, he's been working out on his own, but he's coming off the street here, Mike. So, fans hear John Brown like, oh, get him in the lineup this week. Put him in. What is realistic there? Because there is such a thing as football shape, right?
Yes, you can run all the sprints you want. You can be in your backyard or at your local park and you can feel like you're in shape, but until you're running down the football field and guys are chasing you, you got to go run and catch a football. That's when you know that you're in football shape. But yes, it's going to take some time for John Brown to get in football shape as well. But quite frankly, Isaiah McKenzie, Khalil Shakir, those two guys to me are vitally important to this offense along with James Cook, right? Again, I'm talking about the auxiliary guys. I'm not talking about the Steph Diggs or the Gabe Davis, those main threats, or Devin Singletary. I'm talking about the auxiliary. When you look at Steph Diggs and the way that teams are starting to play him now, every single time he goes in motion, every single time they get in the red zone, there's two sets of eyes looking at Steph Diggs every single time. Actually, Isaiah McKenzie scored a touchdown this week because two sets of eyes was on Steph Diggs. I think the offensive staff need to use that a little bit more. Use the fact that they're doubling use the fact that they're doubling Steph Diggs so much to get other guys open. Isaiah McKenzie has to step up. Isaiah McKenzie has to be that guy, right? Whether it's catching the ball on bubble screens, whether it's, pushing the ball in the slot down the football field, but he's got to be that sure blanket for Josh Allen when he's looking down on third down, because third down is going to be the money down for this offense to be able to get extra downs.
Okay, so with that in mind, and New England on deck this week, it's a defense that doesn't have a true number one corner for the first time in a long time. I mean, it was J.C. Jackson, it was Steph Gilmore. It's been a minute since they really haven't had a guy ascend into that role and say, I'm shutting down your number one this week. So should we expect more of that from New England in terms of the approach to Diggs?
Yeah, I would expect a lot more of that, and I would also expect some zone. One thing that I would say that I've noticed is kind of something that not necessarily negative, especially in our offensive game, but something that I'm concerned with in Josh Allen's game is just leaving the pocket a little too early. He has so much ability to beat a team. He can put the ball anywhere on the football field, right? Anywhere, right? He can roll to his left and throw the ball 70 yards down the right sideline and be deadly accurate with it. And so he knows he possesses that ability. He knows that this offense leans on his arm, leans on his legs, lean on his everything to be able to move the football. And so sometimes I think that the timing in his head gets off and he feels like he has to buy more time and he leaves the pocket a little bit early and it gets his offensive lineman. I saw Roger Saffold had a hole this past week just because Josh Allen was running around a little bit. When the pocket is clean, and at the end of the day, I think if Josh just look at some of the things that guys like Tom Brady does sometimes, when you don't have to run, sit there and allow your receivers to uncover, and it definitely puts your offensive lineman in a better situation. So that's just something I'm looking at as we go down the stretch. Josh, look, man, keep being you, but at the end of the day, sometimes you put your offensive lineman in a bad situation when you do all the running around, just trying to make a play down the football field.
All right, last one I've got for you, Mike. Speaking of Josh, he was talking yesterday about how the Patriots disguise very well. It looks like man at the snap, and then all of a sudden it's a zone coverage and vice versa. How do they do that so effectively?
They have at every time 11 of some of the highest football IQ players on the field at any time. And Bill Belichick doesn't ask guys to do too much. He doesn't ask guys to do what they're not accustomed to doing. If you're not a cover guy, he's not going to make you cover all day. If you can't rush the passer, he's not going to force you to rush the passer all day. What he does is he finds specific, unique jobs for his guys to do, and he puts those guys in a position to be successful, right? And Bill Belichick is not scared to run the same thing over and over and over if it works. And so at the end of the day, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at can Josh Allen, can this Buffalo Bills team in offense and defense do right more often than this New England Patriots team? Because oftentimes when you look at Bill Belichick's teams, they don't physically beat you. They don't beat you. They allow you to mess up. They allow you to make the mistakes and mess up. So if Josh just takes what the defense gives him, believe what you're seeing, take what the defense gives you, and yes, Ken Dorsey, run the football on first and second down, I think we'll come away with the win on Thursday night.
All right, Mike, as always, thanks for the time. We appreciate it. We'll catch up with you next week.
Let's get it, man. Always. Bills Mafia stand all the way up.